On August 23rd, 2009, I created my YouTube channel. On August 27th of that same year, I posted my first YouTube video back in my high school years. And 10 years later, I'm still making videos. Yeah, I can't believe it's been about 10 years since I first started on YouTube. I never thought I'd be on this long. It's been quite the journey. There have been a lot of ups and downs, shows that have come and gone, and it's amazing how I went from playing around with toys on camera to doing a series dedicated to the forgotten. So to celebrate my 10th anniversary, I'm going over a majority of my work over the years and in a personal retrospective, how these videos came to be, and some interesting behind the scenes talk, and what else I have planned for this channel. Action Mario and Luigi Plush. Ah yes, this one. Originally it was called Action Mario and Luigi Plushie, but I later shortened it to Plush part to make it sound better. And the reason why the odd name was simply because I was using a Mario action figure from Wendy's and a Japanese plush toy of Luigi, which is nowadays very hard to find. I was heavily inspired by the Cute Mario Brothers series created by Rick and Tyler, formerly known as Mario 8989 and Luigi Mario 11-2. I first discovered them when I saw their Meet Jack Skellington episode, where Mario and Luigi meet Jack Skellington and do stuff. So I decided I wanted to do my own toy-like videos. If it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have made my YouTube channel. I'm not sure how they structure the episodes, but for me, I was more of a one-man crew for the most part, moving the toys and plushies around with one hand while the other hand I was holding the camera. Sometimes I'd had a mic plug in, sometimes I wouldn't, and everything was made from scratch. I didn't do any scripting for this series, so all the episodes started off with basic ideas like, oh, let's have Mario and Luigi reading something and then going out looking for something. That was pretty much the premise of the first episode. So as soon as the camera rolled with those particular episodes, I just tried to plan things ahead, improvising with some bits and other things. And a lot of the times the dialogue can be odd sometimes, like there's a lot of times where I just say, and stuff, a lot. Sometimes I had some help too, like the Sonic Gets Owned or Pet Napped, where my sister helped out with the camera work while I did everything else. And even my mom helped out filming a cemetery scene in the Christmas episode. The cast of characters were quite the odd bunch. You had, Mario, Luigi, Wario, Jack Skellington, a random pumpkin character I called the Vine Pumpkin being the main villain. Yeah, I had him as the main villain in the show, mostly for two reasons. One was that I thought it would be more interesting if Bowser wasn't the main baddie of the series. And two, I didn't have a plush toy or action figure of Bowser. I did think of one funny reason as to why he's not in the show is that he's been beaten by Mario so many times that he's finally snapped and went to an insane asylum. But I don't think I ever mentioned that in the series. And when it came to editing the episodes, I used iMovie. Basically, it's Mac's version of Windows Movie Maker, which, unfortunately, I'm still using. Well, this is a pretty old Mac system, so I'm getting the best I can until it eventually kicks the dust, and then I'm going PC all the way. Most likely end up having two PCs, one just for gaming and one just for editing. If you're wondering why these episodes were in two parts, it's because there was a time limit for non-YouTube partnerships. Back then it started off with 10 minutes, and then later they boosted it to 15 minutes, but nowadays you can make videos as long as you want, with even the certain option. The show was pretty random and all that, but I have some nostalgia for it. One of my favorite episodes I did was the Sonic Gets Owned and Tea Time with a Hatter. The Sonic one, me and my sister had too much fun coming up with ideas for crazy this episode would be. Sonic doing some bungee jumping, then some sabotage happens to the robe and Sonic gets knocked out, then it goes into some sort of crime-solving thing. Yeah, we were just all over the place with that episode. Also, I accidentally hit my sister in the scene where Knuckles goes all, "I'm confused, raw," thing and shoves them off the bench.
Wait, I am? No, yes, no, I'm confused, raw! Oh, sorry.
Yeah, totally not stolen from Roger Van der Ride's Sonic parody videos. And the Hatter episode was fun, making it more like a RPG adventure kind of thing, locations changing every time a battle began and such. Although I don't know why I bothered putting Mr. Krabs in the party when he always just runs away from the battle. I guess I thought it would be funny, but nowadays I don't find it that funny. My least favorite episode I can think of would be the What's Old is New Again. Yeah, the episode where the new designs of Crash Bandicoots from Crash the Titans and Crash Mind Over Mutants kidnap the old designs and plan to destroy them. This episode clearly shows how super fanboy I was for hating on the Crash Bandicoot character designs in Titans and Mutants. Heck, there weren't even action figures or toys of those new designs, so I had to improvise by just making paper cutouts of them. It was so bad. Well, I guess I had some fun setting one of them on fire. I did a few takes with that scene, and every time I always had a bucket of water under the camera so that I could easily dunk the flaming piece of paper into there so that my hands wouldn't catch on fire. Probably not the best way to handle it in hindsight, so don't try it at home, kiddies. Oh yeah, and Unexpected Love, where I shipped Crash Bandicoot with Rouge the Badge. Man, I don't know when the hell I started thinking that. It actually originated from an old fan-made comic that I did that you'll never see unless I do a certain Forgotten Media milestone episode. But yeah, I think I came up with some kind of sappy backstory with Rouge and how her parents died in a plane accident or something. Yeah, it's too embarrassing to talk about. Yes, that explains why I stopped doing that series. Well, the main reason why I stopped was because I ran out of ideas for episodes. I did eventually think of one where Luigi gets amnesia and works for the bad guys, where they're like, "Oh, we're the good guys, and Mario and the friends, yeah, they're the bad guys." But that was going to be the first scripted episode. I did have it fully scripted, but I never got around to making it, and it's probably lost somewhere. I don't know where it went. As for a return, I don't know, it feels like it's becoming more and more unlikely I'll bring it back. Maybe a random one-off summer fun episode like what the Cute Mario Brothers used to do, but I'm pretty sure the series is dead. Rants and commentaries, oh boy, this one. After I ran out of ideas to continue Action Mario, I decided to do something different. Ranting and commentating videos on people on the internet was pretty popular back then. Not sure how popular it is now, I kind of lost track, but I decided to make some, starting off with a rant on the new designs for Crash Bandicoot. Yeah, times were different back then. Yeah, Titans and Mutants being the newest games before the series died until Activision brought it back with the Insane Trilogy, Nitro Field, and a brand new Crash game, which I'm definitely looking forward to. Anyway, I don't mind the new designs anymore, it's just the new personalities I don't like with Titans and Mutants. But I've become more open with Crash the Titans, and I'm willing to give that a second chance, and maybe experience Mind Over Mutants for the first time. But even so, those rants and commentaries I did kind of haunt me for years because of how I was mostly pulling stuff out of my ass and not doing proper research on things. Well, at least for the first episode, first rant that I did anyway. So, like, there's that bit where I have talked about how, oh, Crunch now voiced by Mr. T, but nope, he's actually voiced by someone else who sounds like Mr. T. Well, I guess after making that video, it taught me to script my videos to properly say what I want to say. So yeah, in some way it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for that crappy rant, I probably wouldn't have bothered scripting videos. Other than that, I didn't do much with the old videos. All I did was covering Sonic fanboys, one a classic Sonic purist, and one a Sonic recolor. When I started getting more into Forgotten Media, I became less and less interested in making rant videos. I was really struggling when I tried to script the second sequels rant, and in the end, I deliberately rushed it, and it came off more like a cheap knockoff of the AVGN's Chronologically Confused video. And of course, there was that rant on, people hating on Archie Sonic. That was mostly due to my personal experience with Archie Sonic comics. I enjoyed the comics and all. The only downside is that everyone I knew in real life don't read the comics, let alone even know that there are Sonic comics. And when I got on the internet, my first impressions were, not too positive. The whole, oh, Sally's a Mary Sue, comics aren't canon, they suck because they're fan fictions, here, So, yeah, that was the reason why I made that rant. It was intended to be my last one, but then I surprisingly did another one, because I somehow had enough energy to rant about the whole, Sally being roboticized again in the comics. Because there was quite a bit of drama in some parts of the fan base who liked that character and all. I've been planning to do an episode on Give Me Chaos Theories, going more in-depth with the whole Mecha Sally drama, because I find that interesting, as well as comparing it to the first time Sally got roboticized in Archie Sonic. But nowadays, I don't look back on those rant and commentary videos too fondly. I moved on from that kind of ranting and internet people. Well, mostly internet people, because with Give Me Chaos Theories, that's kind of more of a, oh, just me being the bitter and cynical old man ranting about the meta era of Sonic. Forgotten Media. The planning stages for Forgotten Media happened during a very interesting time in my life. While I was recovering from jaw surgery, I was stuck in a hospital for about a day. During that time, I just did a lot of thinking about how I wanted to move on from rants and commentaries and do something more of my own. I started to remember an old show called Sheep in the Big City, and noticed that no one really talked about that show back then, and at the time no one really made a video reviewing the show. So that was the birth of Forgotten Media, wanting to talk about some stuff I feel like were worth mentioning. It's kind of embarrassing looking back at those first 3 videos, as back then I was still recovering from jaw surgery, which is why I talked a lot slower and sounded like I was slurring my words. Now it almost sounds like I'm trying to record these lines at like 4 in the morning. I planned out a personal bucket list of topics I wanted to talk about on Forgotten Media, and as you can see, some of them I've already covered, and some of them I have yet to cover. This is what I always considered the show more unique than standard reviews. You know, some people on the internet only covering video games, or only covering film reviews, and so on. Well, I covered anything. Films, TV shows, comics. As long as I had the material to work with and enough research, I was all set. I always imagined a trash can to be the logo for the series, because when things aren't that good or not interesting anymore, people just chuck them in the bin and forget about them. After 50 episodes, or the radio years as I like to call them, I wanted to do something a little different by adding in some live action segments. So that's when I started coming up with the miner's outfit to go along with the catchphrase, where I dig up some stuff you may or may not have heard of. Currently, I'm slowly inching my way to episode 100, which is pretty crazy. Some of my personal favorites that I worked on was the Dave the Barbarian episode, Christmas Carol of the 1900s, covering some of the first film adaptations of A Christmas Carol, and the Milestone episodes. Very ironic that Vectorman ended up being episode 25, as back then I didn't label my episodes until later. Then there was episode 50, paying tribute to Media Play, an old multimedia store that I have some personal memories with. And the 75th episode, dedicated to the Archie Sonic comics and graphic novels that were cancelled and never released, so I felt like covering that as a little tribute to it. There's definitely a lot to talk about with this series, but I can't talk about every single episode on how I made it. Maybe I'll do that when Forgotten Media celebrates its 10th anniversary next year. Beta Collection. After I did Forgotten Media, I thought I'd try and do a similar series talking about some scrapped ideas and beta content for video games. Thus, Beta Collection was born. In some ways, this was more of a substitute series for Forgotten Media, as I was still recovering from jaw surgery, so the series was more of a text series. Images would appear and text would appear explaining what was going on, what was planned for, such and such, while random music was playing in the background. I covered a few, like American McGee's Alice, Epic Mickey, and a Crash Bandicoot marathon covering all the games from the first up to Mind Over Mutants. After I got better, I went full-on Forgotten Media, and over time I became less and less interested with Beta Collection, and then I later deleted the series, and I didn't really like anymore. I tried making some attempt to reboot the series and having like scrapped characters hosting the show, talking about the stuff, but all of that was abandoned. So there you go, the show you'll never see and why I don't bother with them anymore. Well, okay, there was 2 reasons. One, I lost interest with the stuff, and the other reason was mostly because some of the music I was using was copyrighted, so yeah, pesky copyrighted music stuff. Archie Sonic Reviews. Ah yes, Archie Sonic Reviews. My first experience with Sonic the Hedgehog was with Sonic Heroes and the GameCube ports of the adventure games. But my main source of entertainment for the Blue Hedgehog, for the most part, were the Archie Sonic comics when I subscribed to them to their mail order. Since I enjoy the comics so much, and sometimes thinking they're better than the games, I wanted to review them. So that was the basic gist of the reviews, doing 2 issues per video. But after a while, it started to become too much of a chore, since back then Archie Sonic was still going, so it was tough to try and keep up. Of course, nowadays the comics are cancelled, so now there's a distinct number of issues that they've made combined with the miniseries and spin-offs. I'd love to go back to this series one day, reviewing the rest of the comics. Don't think I've seen anybody else review every single issue of Archie Sonic, so hey, maybe I'll be the first. I have a script finished for issues 19 and 20. Once I find that, I'll just use it, and after that I'll restructure the format to be more than 2 issues per video, like a 4-part story. I'll cover all 4 parts in one video. That'll probably be my limit for the most part. Give me chaos theories. The idea for Give Me Chaos Theory started off as a joke when Luke and I were working on the co-op episode of Pinocchio and the Emperor of the Night on Forgotten Media. I said it would be interesting if there'd be some kind of spin-off series to Roger Vanderwhite's Sonic Dissected series. Then later on I decided to try and make it, and thus the unofficially official spin-off to Sonic Dissected was born. I figured what better way to start it off was with a brief reaction to IDW Sonic, had they just been announced. But yeah, kind of weird looking back at it, how I wasn't interested with reading them when I mentioned it in my 75th episode special on Forgotten Media, and yet here I am, I'm enjoying IDW Sonic, liking it, and enjoying it with this, being the ongoing Sonic series that I enjoy following. In fact, it's the only ongoing Sonic series that I still follow. But anyway, yeah, I like Luke. He has a great voice. And I sometimes have fun writing dialogue for him for certain things. Well, half the time anyway. The other half, some of it's Luke's personal thoughts. I like to try and keep things a little more balanced for Chaos Theories. So, a little bit of, scripted, a little bit of personal things. But yeah, I sometimes think it's a little bit more casual than Sonic Dissected. One of my favorite episodes was the in-depth analysis on Infinite from Sonic Forces. It's just amazing how this character was advertised as the next dark and edgy character due to the Sonic franchise, and yet he's all over the place with story, identity, and abilities. I haven't made much episodes. I've been trying to think of ideas despite my bitter and cynical views on Sonic games these days. Probably why I wrote some of Luke's lines to be more positive for the Crash vs. Sonic episode. But yeah, I'm honestly kind of a bit mixed about that particular episode. I feel like it came off more like a good cop, bad cop kind of thing. Luke being the more casual one and me being the bitter and cynical one. But other than that, I've had some fun with some ideas, thinking about it, like discussing about the whole Mega Sally drama from Archie Sonic, and discussing about, Sally got roboticized a second time compared to the first time she got roboticized. I'm sure there are some other ideas I can think of, but that's all I got right now. One more thing about Give Me Chaos Theories is that the visuals that I did was basically my Gmod persona and a drawing of Luke that I did, referencing his dissected attire. So in the latest episode, Luke decided to commission Frogmen to provide some different talk sprites for me and Luke. So we pretty much put them up on the Crash vs. Sonic episode. Yep, first time we show those new visuals, and nobody reacted to them. Yeah, I think Roger was the only one that reacted to it when I posted a teaser image on Twitter. But other than that, no, I didn't get any comments saying anything about the new designs for Give Me Chaos Theories. Well, that's kind of creepy. As for other works that I've done, retrospectives, yeah, just a few miscellaneous stuff that I like talking about, like doing retrospective on video game franchises I grew up, like my personal childhood gaming icons, like Crash, Spyro, and Banjo-Kazooie. I have a Kingdom Hearts retrospective already planned out. It's fully scripted, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I actually had to stop writing that script, mostly because I was mostly waiting for the Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind DLC to come out. So after that got released, then I fully scripted it. So hope to see that being finished one day. Casual reviews. Then there were the casual reviews where I just reviewed non-forgotten films and expressing my opinions on them. That was pretty short-lived. I didn't have much to say for a decent length, so I was kind of getting a little tired of that, so I mostly moved to Twitter where I just post my brief thoughts on films whenever I feel like it. Action figure reviews. So one time I started doing action figure reviews, first starting off with rare figures based off the canceled American McGee's Oz game. Then I later reviewed the American McGee Alice figures. I did do those mostly because there weren't really any reviews that covered the entire set back then, and they were all scripted when I worked on them. After that, I decided to do more cheaper way and just go off script when I reviewed the Nightmare Before Christmas action figures from NECA. Yeah, I think I like the original versions better. And I haven't really made any more, mostly due to lack of interest. War of the Essentials RP. Remember those old event videos I did involving the Mad Hatter from American McGee's Alice fighting some kind of soldiers and stuff? Yeah, that was actually part of a roleplay video series called War of the Essentials. I think, honestly, my memory's a little bit hazy with this one. I remember the story being something about a resistance group fighting some bad guy, spending most of the time in some kind of place called the Hephaestus Base. I came in pretty late in the story, and since it was my first time role-playing, I decided to do the Mad Hatter while everyone was mostly their OCs and stuff. And that is the reason why some of my old RP buddies pretty much call me Hatter by a nickname. Well, I had a fifth event planned and scripted where the Hatter would meet up with Ariana the Echidna. Was it Ari? I think it was Chinana. Yeah, I think it was Chinana. Yeah, it would be Hatter meeting up with Chinana. Or Ari, I don't know, I can't remember which one. But basically, they'd meet up, join the resistance, But that particular video never happened, because there was a bit of drama with some of the members, and we ended up canceling the roleplay story. I remember Ari wanted to try and reboot it, but no one was interested, so we eventually all moved on from that. Only on rare occasions do I see them, like Ariana. We sometimes chat again on certain occasions, just like old times. But yeah, that was the story of the first time I ever did a roleplay. Outside of work. Now, aside from my own YouTube videos, I've done a few appearances on other YouTube stuff, whether it's just showing up in someone's video or doing some voice work or helping out with a few things. The earliest collab I was part of was a group commentary talking about a video a guy named, what's it, Dalek something something, making some kind of rant on animation versus anime and how animation is superior to him than anime. Not really happy with that collab, and what I can remember, and don't bother trying finding it, that video is lost by now. There's an old interview I was a part of with some friends that decided to interview me for fun. I know they were from some old Archie Sonic fans that I used to hang out with on the site. So yeah, they did an interview about me where I talked about Forgotten Media. Aside from that, we also did an E3 talk I did with a friend of mine, 6T76T is a friend and a fan of Forgotten Media who sometimes helps out with the title cards. I did the voice work of a narrator for Smashing Leak Awareness by Crispy Toast, a short Gmod animation about the dangers in spreading fake Smash Ultimate leaks. The most collabs I've done with on YouTube so far is with Roger Vanderwide on Sonic Dissected. Yeah, that guy known for Sonic parodies, Kingdom Hearts parodies, his own IMP series, and of course Sonic Dissected. I've known Roger's videos for a long time. His Chain of Memories parody was my first introduction to his work, and thanks to Luke's connections with him, I got to know him a little more through emails and eventually on Discord. First appearance I did with him was when we covered the first 7 issues of IDW Sonic on Sonic Dissected. And despite the audio sounding a little quieter than usual for some reason, it was fun. Yeah, I was more of the optimistic one, while Roger was more skeptical about the comics. We do plan on doing another IDW Sonic related video on Sonic Dissected, we just haven't gotten around to making it yet. And then I made a cameo appearance on the Sonic movie Dissected, where I try to explain my opinions on the film, but I always end up getting interrupted and never stating my thoughts. I was more of a running joke in that one. My animated self pretty much popping out of a trash can was actually my idea. A little nod to Forgotten Media there. Outside of showing up on Sonic Dissected, I've also been helping out behind the scenes and helping him with re-editing his videos that keep getting blocked on YouTube, mostly thanks to Technicolor Animation Productions, the same company that worked on the Sonic Boom TV show. And all those videos got blocked, all related to using a lot of footage from the show. The first one that I helped fix was the Sonic Music Dissected episode. I mostly focused with editing out the Sonic Boom film footage and replacing it with stills and other things. While I was planning on this, Roger asked me if there was anything that I would personally add to it. So I figured, well, if I could add to it, I guess I could go more in-depth with a Sega Saturn version of Sonic 3D Blast's music. So Roger was kind enough to add in a little bonus extra where I briefly pop up and I go more in-depth with the music from the Sega Saturn version. And so far, people like that little extra bonus that I added in. For the most part, I kept the video mostly the same. Aside from that, I also helped him out with getting the Internet Dissected episode up on YouTube, seeing as how, for the longest time, that particular April Fool's video was only exclusive on Rogers' DeviantArt account. So I thought it would be a nice bonus to kind of complete the series and getting that particular video up. My latest contribution in helping out re-uploading episodes from Sonic Dissected was when I worked on Sonic Boom Identity Crisis Part 2, where for that one I mostly had to work from scratch since the majority of the video was just using Sonic Boom film footage. It was kind of interesting when Roger gave me the audio files and the video files from the original. So when I was going through the audio files, I noticed that there was a extended version of Roger talking more about Lyric from Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, where in the original he just ended off with a "Lyric, does anyone care?" comment before moving on to the next one. So I thought it would be nice to put that deleted segment back into the video as a nifty little bonus while I was re-editing the visuals. Outside of Sonic Dissected appearances, I've done a little bit of voice work for him, mostly a small part in voicing the professor in his Spyro 2 parody. Man, I would love to do more voice acting stuff. I'll have to talk to Luke about that. He knows a lot more about that and has a lot of connections with voice acting stuff. And I'm still planning on doing some more stuff with him. We've already talked about, the IDW Sonic Dissected episode, or IDW Sonic Dissected Round 2, as I like to call it. And I'm planning to do some auditions for his inevitable Kingdom Hearts 3 video, whenever he gets around to making it. Finally, there's the future for MeltingMan234. Yeah, so what's the future for this channel? I don't know. It's kind of an interesting question I've had on my mind for quite some time. Well, at least as far as I can think of right now, I'll be still doing Forgotten Media. Next episode that I've already teased about is covering the Ponyville Mysteries chapter books. Yeah, the first time I'm covering something related to My Little Pony Friendship is Magic on this show, and also the first time I'm covering some literature that aren't comic books. After that, I might do 1 or 2 more episodes of Give Me Chaos Theories and maybe try and focus more on bringing back the Archie Sonic reviews. It's kind of neat seeing comments with people saying, oh, this looks like, something from 2008 or like the olden days of YouTube, but they say it more in a positive way. So I guess that's one nice way of putting it for my channel. I'm like one of the surviving relics of the olden days of YouTube. Yeah, back in the day when we had 5-star ratings and YouTube channels with much more creative backgrounds, and not that stupid letterbox thingy. And I really don't have any plans in selling my soul to Google to become a YouTube partnership. I'm sure it would be a cool idea to do it now, but considering with the strict restrictions and going through a daily routine of demonetization, yeah, no thanks. But I'm not really one of those big shots or whatnot. I think that's kind of the thing with me. I don't really follow up on popular trends, especially when it comes to Forgotten Media. I just find it more interesting, just delving into the forgotten and obscure, discovering things like, oh, hey, here's an element from the Sonic franchise that predates something that happened in the games, or, oh, hey, here's Mark Hamill doing a badass Skeleton King voice in this old show. I'm not doing it for the money or wasting your time with ads going like, oh, I'm going to waste 5 minutes of your time advertising this thing. Yeah, look at it. It does a thing. You should totally buy it because it does a thing. Now give me money. Nah, I'm not doing any of that. I'm just a simple entertainer, a simple actor coming out on stage to perform for people. We just need that bit of entertainment to escape from the harsh reality, at least for a little bit. And that concludes my personal retrospective. In some ways, it was quite nostalgic to go back and looking through all those old videos that I've done. It's hard to imagine what would have happened if I had never moved on from Action Mario and Luigi Plush. But yeah, that's pretty much the story of my 10 years on YouTube, and here's hoping for another 10 years. So to all of those who have followed me over the years, or just recently rediscovered me, thank you for all the support. And as always, this is MeltingMan234, signing out.